This is Stan Nikolov, another master at social media advertising and ads. As I believe he's more specialist at e-commerce, as he used to own an e-commerce store that he ran a lot of ads to. So Stan, welcome, brother.
Nice to have you here in your studio.
How's things going on the e-commerce side of social media advertising?
Dynamic.
Yes, I like that.
As every other niche in the social media marketing space.
Tell me, how long have you been doing this? How long have you been running ads and social media for e-commerce stores?
So it's been already 4 years. I think even 5. I don't remember actually. It was a long time ago. I started off by it was a pretty interesting story. I used to work in a warehouse, and I started selling the stuff from the warehouse, and then this thing started to expand, and I started creating some websites, putting the products that were in that the warehouse was supposed to sell in my website. Then I figured out the Facebook ads and how to drive traffic to the store, and then people started to see it, and revenue started pouring in, and that's it. Long story short, it was pretty interesting, and just the first year I've managed to scale the business up to 600,000, I guess. In revenue, and the profit margins the pure profit was like 10%, and I was like 20. So imagine a 20-year-old kid from the Eastern Europe, just as you in Bulgaria, doing a 60K a year. That was amazing. But then the struggles came in. When you don't know the basics, for example, product market fit and stuff, unit economics, how to handle taxes. Things didn't go well, and I started struggling, especially with taxes, especially with inventory, because it's when you are not doing drop shipping, it's very hard to track all of your inventory, take care of customer retention, customer satisfaction. It's their crazy stuff that you have to handle in order to stay profitable. This year I decided to sell my online store with all of my inventory for a 6-figure, and then decided to purely focus my attention on helping others people achieve great results, because it's I found that it's better to help others than just being selfish and doing it for myself. Oh, and I forgot to mention that during all this crazy stuff, we decided, me and my team, because during the time of the e-commerce game, while running the store, I used to have a team of 10 people, and one day we didn't have much work to do, and we decided to outreach people and start selling the paid ads. They were like, man, look at us, we're doing over 1 million in revenue a year. Do you want us to run the ads for you? And many people said yes, and that's how the e-commerce agency was born.
That's an amazing story. And tell me, like, were your clients all from back home, or you start reaching out to UK or America, or?
All of my clients used to be in Bulgaria. Some of them were in Romania, but straight this year we started working only with USA customers, or customers that are based somewhere else and sell in the US market. US market is a lot different story compared to Europe. It's the consumer behavior, it's different. Everything is different. I've read a statistic somewhere that the US market spends twice as more as the whole European market combined. All the countries, imagine that. 2.5 actually more.
Yeah, they there is this saying that says like if you decide to reward the U.S. market with your expertise, the U.S. market will reward you with high consumerism behavior.
Yes, I love.
And it's a good quote.
Yeah, I
to
love.
Remember. And we predominantly in our agency also work. We're focused more on public speakers and coaches who are very busy to dance on camera, and it's still like predominantly US market is where most of the money comes, and campaigns usually drive ROI.
Yeah.
So if I ask you like what was the biggest lesson you learned managing your own company, starting from being nobody to building that company? What was the biggest lesson you learn? Or if I rephrase that question, it's like, which is the lesson that repeats, like no matter what new thing you do? This happens to me all the time. I think the universe is trying to play with me. I constantly learn the same lesson. I'm like, oh yeah, like stay focused, man. Like you know what you need to do. So what was the biggest lesson you learned?
Focus on the fundamentals. Definitely. Because many entrepreneurs and many business owners have this shiny new object syndrome, that they go from place to place and they don't focus their attention purely on the fundamentals. They don't understand unit economics, they don't understand product market fit, and these are the things that really move the money needle, man. Everyone is focusing on the offers, on the ads and stuff, but they don't actually understand why they're doing this.
Yeah, that's very well said. Like I also always tell to people, man, like ads, they always work.
Yes.
Like it's so easy to run ads. Like what doesn't work, it's what happens after, right?
Yes.
It's like more. I know I witness a lot of businesses who have no advertising or marketing problem, but they have a capitalizing problem. Like they can't make enough money because their sales team is like shit.
Yeah.
Right. So tell me more about what is your biggest struggle building that business. Like I know there was many, but what was the one that said like, I don't want to do this anymore?
Which one are you talking about? The
I'm talking about the e-commerce business before.
Oh,
what was the one thing that you're like,
I was doing the stuff the old way. I was buying all the stock, having all the warehouses, managing inventory and stuff. That was the thing that was really annoying to me, and that's why I decided to sell the whole business. Because to be honest with you, I didn't want to be a middleman for the goods, dealing with suppliers and stuff. I just wanted to be behind my desk and doing ads, and that was it. Not just the ads, but like growing the whole business.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And if we now go deeper in working with clients, running a lot of advertising and generating big revenues for them, what do you believe that most of the people that approach you to hire you, what do you believe they need to learn before they actually jump on an adventure on advertising on social media? So we both got clients. As you say, they have the shiny syndrome effect. They're like, oh, I'm going to give you 2,000. Can you make me 4? Right? And you're like, need to be like, wait, like there's a lot to do before we get there, right? Sometimes we all get lucky, right? Yes. But what do you believe is like the thing that you constantly have to explain to business owners so they can actually understand how this world works?
The thing that I constantly have to explain to people is that they need to become better entrepreneurs in order to run better business. And the ads don't sell the ads just don't, it's not a validation for the business. I mean, you can't be a magician and just run ads and expect this whole thing to be profitable if the backend it's not good. That's what I'm constantly trying to.
And it's not an easy task to explain that, right?
Yes.
Because,
for example, when I sign a client who is doing, for example, 5 figures a month and want to scale to 6 figures, he's constantly asking if this ad is going to work, if this is going to work. And I said, man, you should focus on making your product better, finding your product market fit. How do you, what problems do your customers have? How can we find a solution and sell the solution? That's it.
And it's not an easy task to explain to business owners. Like,
yes.
the reason I step back from e-commerce is because I got a very big company in the US who was making like hundreds of millions of revenue, right? And it was very difficult to explain to the team I was supposed to kind of guide to scale that. So that company was not selling anything online, very little. Like, I sell more than them online, right? So they had the big network. And this is where I said I will never do e-commerce again, because I found it really difficult. Like, I went to this company and I asked them, like, cool, I want the numbers. I want to calculate what is your cost per acquisition at the moment with all your channels. So I want to have like understanding of how much does it cost us to acquire a new customer, how many of them purchase after 60 days, after 6 months, what are our tactics to make them purchase after 90 days. I want to see how much full LTV we are actually generating out of these clients. And I want to have, so I can set up some targets with how much should I want to drive the cost per acquisition down, how much should we have profits in the end. And the question is, like, you just run the ads. We don't care about these things. And then I was like, how can this company make 100 millions in revenue and they don't even know their cost per acquisition? And how am I supposed to go to this guy who's multi-millionaire? He's actually famous, right? And like, who am I? How am I going to convince you to trust me, right? When he has the ego, which is fine, absolutely earned, right? It's not like a fake ego. He knows what he's doing. But how am I supposed to explain to him the online world, right? And I face kind of the same issue with the smaller businesses, and I was like, I'm not gonna continue doing e-commerce. I'm gonna go back and do what I do best, and that's lead gen and coaching and working with coaches and public speakers, because with them it's a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
And it was the same. It was the same struggle, and I was like I cannot spend. I had a huge budget allowance. It was like I was basically sweating on how much money allowance I have to spend on daily basis, right? And I never spent a single penny, because I said, if I spend your money, I have to spend them with confidence rather than just, spend your money and then be the guy who lost you the money. Because and then the whole team was very mediocre, and I was like, we don't want to do this and we don't want to do that. And I was like, then we cannot work together, right?
Yeah.
And that was the biggest struggle I had in the e-commerce world. And I was like, how do I explain these people this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, why they're like, and it's hard because they make their money and now they're confident, and it's hard.
Yeah, definitely.
To put the idea, because they did something, it worked, right? But now when you need to get to the next level, you need to do the stuff that you need to do to get to the next level.
Absolutely.
And this is also the big problem that most people come to us when things are not working. Do you face that as well?
Yeah. They come to you after you give your expertise. They start asking questions, and they start to doubt your expertise. And every time I'm like, man, why are you coming to me and hiring me? I don't get the point of doing this. You're paying for somebody to scale your business, and then you start to give your own opinions. Opinion is fine, but to forcing it, I don't get it. I think it's mainly because of the egos that many of these people have achieved something, but that's to different companies. To certain when they reach certain amount of revenue, the ego becomes big.
No, I mean that's absolutely understandable, right? But it is like if anyone looking to start into the advertising world, beware. This is a big issue you're going to have to face, and I personally haven't figured it out how to deal with it. So the way I deal with it is like from the first meeting I have with them, before I actually get their money, I crush all their freaking expectations, and I tell them this is not going to work until you have 6 months and $30,000 to spend without getting any results. Are you happy with this? Like, do you want to run this kind of a test with your business or you don't? And that kind of protected me from needing to go and explain to people. I just mind blowing that. Yeah, like every single business owner I ever met in the last 7-8 years doing this, right? When I asked them, what is your cost per acquisition? How much does it cost you to get a client? Every single one of them said nothing. I was like, wait a minute, you have 150 employees, right? Like, what do you mean nothing? Like, what are you talking about? Like, how much does it cost you to acquire a customer? Nope. Like, I never met till now anyone that says, yeah, it cost us $75. Never. You know? It's like, so I'm like, am I the crazy one here or?
Long story short, just prior to our meeting, I had a call with some Chinese company that is selling in the US, and they were doing like 22 million a year. And I asked the same question: what's your cost per acquisition? And they asked me, what is that?
It's insane.
22 million in a year. Imagine.
Maybe we are crazy, bro. Maybe we are crazy. Right?
But man, imagine 22. It's not little money. 22 million a year.
Yes, but you know, like some things to some people just happen, right?
Yeah.
Or they have a great product and people want it. Like if Apple doesn't know their cost per acquisition, they're still gonna sell 100 million phones worldwide. So sometimes people, you know, because they had a great product, they appear in the right time, they got lucky. In my case, working with public speakers and high-end online coaches, the big issue they have is like most of the high-ticket business come from their network, right? They have a powerful network.
Yeah.
I mean, powerful network. Like every single person in their network is worth 10, 20 million, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And when they have a retreat or they have a new program, they just go to their network and they make $500,000 in like a week.
Yeah.
Right? Because their network is very powerful. And when they approach the cold world onto the internet, like they expect that the cold world will react the same way like their network reacts, right? And I'm telling them, like, I don't even know who you are. Like, why do you think I'm going to give you $5,000 or $10,000 or $20,000? Right? You need to work to convince people. And if what do you think is like what annoys you the most on social media? What annoys you the most when it's about advertising and social media, you know, with the gurus and stuff?
False claims. Definitely. Over promising and under delivering. That's what annoys me the most. Because these people are hurting the industry. The trust in the customer decreases. And for example, there are a lot of people on the market who can actually deliver, and people don't believe them because of these guys who give false claims. That's the thing that annoys me the most. And all of the people that are wannabes, I try to do stuff that they don't even know.
There's loads of that, right?
Yeah.
Like one thing that also I see quite often is get my program and I'll teach you how to make a lot of money without running ads. When it's a freaking ad. It's an ad.
Yeah, right? Yeah. How's that even possible? I mean, have you? Did you manage to read the book 100 Million Leads?
The leads, no. That's the new book, right, of Alex Hormozy?
Yeah, by Hormozy.
No. I read the old one long time ago, and another 100 ones like that one, right?
Yeah, the book is good. Actually, he's explaining about the 4 core ways of getting leads. The first one is the warm outreach. There, he's explaining about the people that are in your environment, the close friends, etc. The second thing is the cold outreach, which is basically cold DMing, cold emails. What else? Cold calling also.
Cold calling, bro. Yeah, of course.
Third thing is content creation. It's one-to-many. You create a piece of content, you post it on social media, people see it, and if they find it valuable, they reach you out.
But if they find it valuable.
If. The fourth and most efficient thing of them all is the paid advertising. The paid outreach method. Because you can reach to enormous amount of people. The way he thought it is that you actually expose what has worked for you and just give a call to action if you're interested, for example, in this way, that what's helped us bring us more customers or revenue, etc. Book a call with me. That was it. It was basically a case study of how he's doing things.
And it's that freaking simple, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the way I enter in this world, Stan, is like it's so bizarre. But it was like it's so I used to be a personal trainer, even I look like a chubby fat teeth. I don't want to say it here, so Spotify doesn't shut me down. And I was very busy, like I was making very good money, but I knew like selling my time in the gym floor or going to train these rich people, it's not going to work, right? It's not scalable. I come to a point where like I was charging people 80 pounds, British pounds an hour for a session, while the rest of the industry is 35 in London, 40, right? And it was still like I was dead, and I was like, okay, I want to, how do I get out of all of this? And then I found a guy online. I paid him 8,000 pounds and he gave me a business plan, right? And that business plan was about starting boot camps where you can train like 1,000 people in a group, right? And I was like, fuck it, let's do it. And the plan was 95%, how do you manage all things and leads and stuff. Nothing that I didn't know already, but I just didn't have a structure about it. Right? I couldn't put it like, this is what you do, then this is what you do, then on Wednesday you do this, and then on Thursday in the morning this, and then Thursday evening you do this, right? Like I just didn't have, like, because I was an experienced salesman and I sold fitness for many, 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 many years. Even the hardest way, like literally taking strangers on the gym floor and convince them to give me their money, right? And the only thing I was needed to do in order to get the clients is run a simple ad on Facebook, which I didn't even know they exist, to be honest, at that time. I just didn't even know this world exists. And it was a simple format, not even a landing page. And the ad was like, I'm looking for 10 women who wants to improve their life, health in the Wimbledon area. And I call all my personal training clients. I put them on the car park in the school when I ran the stuff. I put 3 battle ropes, the battle ropes, and I just filmed 5 seconds of like 4 women doing battle ropes and like having the best time of their life because they were laughing, right?
Yeah.
Like that ad ran for 3 years, spent over 100,000 pounds. Right? That was the first ad, and I never made an ad that perform better than that. After that, over the years, I took I spent 100K on courses to find out how to hack the machine and how my ads work better. Nothing freaking worked. Only that first ad was still kicking ass every single time, right?
Always like this.
And when I did that, like on week 1, I had over like 300 leads, and I was spending like £20 a day. I had to call like 150 people a day because they're just coming up, and then you need to follow up, right? I just didn't know what to do. Like I was just 8-9 hours on the phone. So I quit the gym, and on the first week of launching the bootcamp, I signed up 19 people that pay me £300 for a 6 weeks program to train on the car park. You know?
Wow.
And then is when I said, how the teeth? I didn't know about this. Like I'm, 27 years old, and I don't have a clue this world exists, right? And the first thing then the idea went to my head was like, I'm going to make this a success, and as soon as possible, I'm going to start an agency and show people like how much money they're missing by not knowing about this, right?
Yes.
Like that was, my idea was not like, oh my God, I'm going to grow a big fitness business. I was like, no, screw that. Like, this is insane. I need to learn more about this. Like, I need to show people this insane tool, right? And then since then, until today, I still don't know why people make content. You know, I make content. I don't understand why. If you ask me why, I'm like, maybe because I did it for too long now. But content is the last thing you should do, right?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a caveat to the content. You have to build expertise first, and then you show it to the world.
You know, these videos, like, they piss me off. But, like, when I started the agency, because I knew all the rest, right? I was like, I want to add a layer of organic content as well. And I learned, I paid a coach, I learned how to make content, right? And I grow it to very quickly, 5,000-6,000 in probably 2 months, starting from zero. But I made $0 from that. And I said, okay, this can go to hell. I knew this is not going to work, but I just wanted to learn about it. It made me a better advertiser, right?
Of course, yeah.
And then I just went and like start calling companies and stuff. And I know you make a lot of content too, right? So why do you make content?
So the main reason why I make content is to feel all my actions throughout the journey. How I am thinking, and I want to look back in years and say, well, I was such a fool.
That's a nice one. That's a nice one. Like, I even look now and I'm like, I'm a fool. Like, why do I do this? Like, nobody cares.
Yeah.
I explain content. Sorry, go for it.
Yeah, sorry. The other thing mainly that I make content for is there are a lot of connections. You can make a lot of friends, a lot of connections by making content. And the content is the reason why we are now talking here in this podcast.
That's true.
Yeah, and adds a layer of social proof. And it also I would say builds a personal brand which is a great asset. It's add some assets to your name. That's it.
Yeah. Like, I feel like I want to throw up every time I see people tell people that the first thing they need to do is start making content, right? And I'm like, you're never gonna quit that shitty job if you start making content. Like, the chances of people want to work with you randomly because you're making content is very low. I mean, all these gurus that teach content creation is like, they don't teach content creation. They tell them to go and DM 100 people a day, 2,000 people a day, like DM. Like, they tell them to do cold outreach. They're not teaching them, like, the content they're teaching them to make doesn't bring the leads.
Yeah.
Right? And I bought a lot of courses just to see what they're selling. And it's always like, oh, you need to engage, or you need to build the community. Yeah, but that's like basics, right? Yeah. In sales. And I always say content for me is just to improve overall conversion. At the moment. Yeah. And that's how I understand it. I'm not against it. I make it. I like it. But if you want to make money, like, learn how to use the premium features of the platform rather than becoming an expert at the free features of the platform, right? And what is the biggest what is the, if I say like, what is the most successful campaign? But when I say campaign, I mean as a complete customer journey campaign, not like an ad campaign, like campaign, funnel, purchase or a lead event afterwards, that you ever kind of said to yourself like, damn, I can replicate this so many times and it's going to work again and again and again, because we encounter these beautiful problems, right? Like you try to fix something and then you fix it and it's like boom, it explodes at one point, right? You get the copy right, you get the ad right, you get the funnel right. Like, which kind of campaign you found? I'm not asking a technical question here to tell me, oh, I set up in the ad set and it was like did this and no. I'm asking like more philosophical answer to it. What was that campaign selling? Was it selling an outcome? Was it selling a pain point? Was it selling the features and benefits of the client or of the product? Doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah, we got one particular customer that is selling print on demand, but the way he does it, he owns the factory actually.
Mm-hmm.
Printing the paro in his warehouse, and this thing is crushing it. He's doing over 2 million and a year in Europe, and he started from zero, and we've managed to make this in 1 year. I'm telling this in Europe because in Europe it's different. The consumer behavior, it's not that upgraded, just as the United States. In the United States, 2 million may seem nothing because we have customers that are doing these figures in a month. But in Europe, it's different. Starting from 0 to 2 million, it's a lot.
Oh, no, of course.
Yeah. And he's having a unique selling proposition. He has focused on the basics of the business, finding the product market fit, finding the right people to sell the product to, finding the great product or the mechanism, whatever you would like to say it. Also, we were not selling transformation because what kind of a transformation you can sell with clothes, with print on demand clothes? It's either you buy it or, I mean, you can still sell some kind of a transformation, but it's hard with print on demand clothes. It's a low ticket product. But the thing that we managed to do it is find a group of people with specific. It wasn't a problem, but it was under specific circumstances, and we found that the price point, the amount our target niche was willing to pay for this product, and this thing crushed it, really crushed it, and he's continuing to scale right now.
That's you mentioned a keyword there. Keyword I really would like to expand a little bit more about it. You say price point. So
Yes.
I try to talk to a lot of people and tell them like, how did you come up that this is worth $300? They're like, oh, it's worth way much more than that. I know it's worth, like, do you know how valuable it is? And I will be like, no. And honestly, I don't care. But what is your concept of proof that this is worth 300? Do you know who decides that? Is audience, not you.
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
So you mentioned that, and I want you to tell me more about like what should a business do before they decide, in your experience. Like if somebody's now want to sell an offer, whatever that is, e-commerce, coaching, whatever that offer is, like how do they construct their price? Because as I said, everybody's like, this is worth way more than I'm selling it for.
Okay, so first things first, we have to have a niche, a specific group of people with specific problem under specific circumstances. that's this thing. It's not dependable on the other aspects that I'm going to talk about right now. So the second thing we have is transformation, the promise you make to your audience. And the next thing is your price. The price is the amount your target niche is willing to pay to achieve this transformation. So this forms the market. This points a group of people who desire a specific transformation and possesses the financial capacity to act on that desire. And the thing about the offer that is really interesting is the perceived value of the offer itself should be high, and it should be like 5 to 10 times more the price. For example, if we sell something for $5, the perceived value should be $25 or even $50 to see how people actually react to different price points.
I find out, especially selling online coaching, I find out that after all of these things are in place, right, that you need to have like a pricing strategy, right? I tested this several times and it always worked. And even though the business owners not always like it, right? And I'm telling them like I had a client and they came and said, "Oh, we decided to increase the price from 300 to 550. I have a coach who told me I'm too cheap. People think I'm too cheap." And I asked, why? Like, I run the ads. You're selling nothing at the moment, right? We're selling something else. This was like, it was in the whole ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
But I have access to the numbers and you're selling like 3 a month. Like, how did you come up with the idea that you should be selling for 500 and from 3, I think it's to 550, right? Like, or I want to know how did your coach come up with that idea, because it's very interesting. I want to learn, right? I want to learn because I don't see any indicator that we need to increase the price. And they increase the price and then everything else starts to suffer. Even my ads, even the other offer I was selling, because now they start looking like too expensive and they don't care enough to charge people that much, right? And I always do with everybody else, like, hey, you can't just go and like, I think this is valuable $1,000. I'm like, why you don't try to sell 10 for 300 first, right? Get a feel for the product, get a feel for the, like, there's a reason in every supermarkets, all the big companies give you like samples of food, right?
Yes.
So they can see actually they're doing experiments. They do actions and they drop the prices to see if like people are gonna rush and buy the cheese from the shelves if it's cheaper. So they know like, oh, they're not buying it because it's not good, because it's too expensive at the moment. So they like, you need to have a system to decide. And there was cases where as we increase the prices, the ads get smarter over time and we're still keep on getting the same amount of new clients buying it, even if we tripled the price in 6 months.
Yeah.
Right. And we're like, okay, we didn't lose money before, but we got smarter. Right.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that people have to understand, that the price is not what you want it to be, the price is what people are willing to pay for. Am I right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. With e-commerce though, it's a bit different, because you have to maintain more than 80% gross profit margins in order to stay profitable, because you have to run all these discount offers and stuff, and you have to play with it. And but though, if you for example, if the business is making 200, 500K a month, then we got to make sure that we actually start becoming one of the most expensive players on the market. And the reason behind this is to actually to crush the competitors by becoming more on the premium side of the things, if that makes any sense to you.
No, of course, but that's not just going to happen by increasing the price. You'll have to look more like a premium brand. There's a lot of work behind it, right? It's not like we're just going to run an ad to more expensive price and people are just going to be, oh my God, they're better than us. Like, no. It takes rebranding. You never know, right? It's a big step to make.
I said we are doing this when the brand is in the price range of not the price range, but the revenue range of 200 to 500K. That's where we can decide to if it's going to be to become the most expensive player on the market, or multiply the front end products to allow you to convert different visitors. So there is a huge difference. You can't just put a higher price on your product at the beginning and run ads. That's not how it works. Everything will start suffering.
Of course. And one last question. What is your opinion on ROAS? I'm measuring return on ad spend. For the people who don't know what ROAS means, ROAS is return on ad spend, right? How much money you spend with your ads, how much money you're making as a direct impact of the ad itself.
ROAS is shit. I don't know if we are going to get banned about this, but ROAS was made by agencies who try to make their customers spend more. It is done to measure the efficiency of the platform itself, but it doesn't affect the whole business, the ROI. So I would call it just a vanity metric, and it's definitely a no-go to follow.
But why, Stan? I need to know how much money I'm making.
There is a thing called ecosystem ROAS that we calculate from, how to say it? We calculate the blended CPA. That's across all channels, across all marketing expenses. So that's what matters.
Yeah, but leave the Google ads aside. Like, that's not your job. I want the Facebook ads to make me money, and ROAS is where I can see if this ad makes money or not, doesn't make money, right?
Yeah, but how do you track this?
Well, Facebook says there is a ROAS, and I can see how much money is the ad making, right?
Okay, but imagine the following scenario. You're scrolling through Facebook, you see the ad. Then you go to TikTok, see the same ad. Then you decide to go to Pinterest, see the same ad. Then you decide to Google it and buy it from there. So who takes the most credit of it?
Well, Google.
Yeah.
So that's the typical thinking of the today's business owner, right? And this is also something that is I find it very difficult to explain, especially to e-commerce business owners. Like, and it's not them, but it's the team that works for them, because they are like, this guy is a threat to my job.
Yeah,
like this guy is gonna come and talk and like kind of kaboom that what I do is that I'm basically taking credit for someone else's work, right? And these teams, until they learn that they need to operate together as a team and share the winnings and the losses together, it's mission impossible. That's one of the main reasons I abandoned e-commerce. I was like, I'm tired of convincing people that like you're measuring their own metrics. And how do people know which ad works if they're running two ads at the same time? If ROAS doesn't matter, in your opinion, how do you do it?
I wanted to add that there is a big team cannibalization when working with a huge e-commerce brand, because as you said, everyone is blaming the others and says you're a threat to the team. Yeah, this thing happens a lot. But what the other teams actually don't understand is that Facebook, it's your main push channel. By push channel, you mean you're raising the awareness. How most of the people are going to be aware of your brand if it's not for Facebook?
Exactly. Like Google doesn't do nothing. Google just captures existing demand. That's it.
Exactly.
And people are like, oh, we're getting sales on Google for $30. I'm like, yeah, but so what?
Yeah. And the thing is that the more you put on the front end with Facebook and stuff, the more revenue you start getting from email, from Google, etc., from all other channels.
Okay, let's get back again to the question, and let's try to answer it if we're not together. Like, how do a certain person that watch this or listen to this podcast now, and they listen to us and say, these guys are crazy. Like, if I don't measure ROAS or click-through rates or click all these metrics that shouldn't even be in the ads manager, how do they know which of these two ads works the best for them? I mean, I have my own answer, but I want yours.
You mean which ads?
They're running two ads at the same time to a same product. How do they know which ad perform better if they're not allowed to measure ROAS?
It's a hard question to answer.
Okay, so I'll give you my take, and maybe it's gonna. You definitely know the answer. You do this at a high level. You just so. I will use campaign simplification, and I would use campaign simplification, and I would run one or two ads maximum at a time to see how the whole ecosystem is affected. Yeah. And when I run another one, I'll just monitor the whole ecosystem, like all the sales coming from everywhere, and I will shut down one ad just to see if this one is actually the main drive of the results, which basically means I'll never run two ads, dynamic ads or two ads more at the same time. And this is how I can see and measure the impact certain ad has to the whole business. I know with e-commerce can get way more complicated with Black Fridays offers that people like to run and then the DABA ads, right, and stuff like that. But in general, this is how I would measure it. Like I will run an ad and I'll see what happens in the back end stuff. And I'm not going to run 10 ads at the same time, so I have no freaking clue which ads actually is moving the needle, right?
Definitely no go. Yeah, so I focus on account simplification. That's it. Maximum 3 to 4 campaigns. Sorry.
Cool. I'm even deeper. I'm just run one. I'm like one campaign and no more. No more. It is harder. It takes longer to test stuff around, but it makes me have a clear vision of what actually moves the needle faster, rather than being like an addict on the platform, like starting owning. Because I've been that guy who refreshed the screen, and you've been there too, like refreshing the screen and like, what happened? Do I have a lead? Do I have a sale? Like, no, okay, let's refresh 5 minutes later, right?
To be honest, right now, we have a team of media buyers that are taking care of this stuff. I'm more like I focus my attention on the product market fit mainly. And what I enjoy doing more is actually finding the our buyer persona's pain points and actually finding a better solution to their problems. That's what I'm trying to convince my customers right now to do. Actually, I try to coach them to become better entrepreneurs rather than focusing on Facebook ads and all of the crazy shit ads. Because at the end of the day, the ad has only one job. That's to sell the click, to drive customers to your website. And you have to communicate your offer through the website. And all the because at a certain level, the landing pages and the offers are what's moving the money needle. The ads it just grabs the eyeballs.
Yeah, and that's where it stops, right? That's where it stops. I mean, there are exceptions when people have Jordan shoes and then you just buy them, no matter what it says. And one more thing, I know you're very big on copy. and you talk a lot about in your content about how like copy is like the king of, how do you say, of ads or sales. Like if you don't have a great copy in general in your funnel, you're not going to make it. So can you tell me more about like what, like if we let's say we talk about the ad, right? Most people also focus just on creatives and stuff, but what when you mention in your content like copy sales, like what do you actually mean? Give me like a generic answer to that.
Direct response copy. That's what I mean. Make them, I don't know, just spark their interest. Make them want to click the ad. Just my favorite framework is the hook story offer from Russell Brunson. It's a timeless framework. You know, if everything, but in order for this to happen, you have to have your research done beforehand. Who is the person that you're selling to? What's their main pains? What's their fears, anxieties, etc. And then you address this in the headline, and then your story has to resonate with them. And then you give your call to action, and that's it.
Yeah, I've read all those books multiple times, and I think it's better to read those books than go to college or university.
What?
Anyway, I think it's better to read the ClickFunnels, Russell Brunson's book, and that's all you need to learn in life, basically. Unless you want to be a doctor, that's different. Right?
It's not enough. You have to dig a little deeper. You have to go to Ogilvy's, Quote Hopkins, Breakthrough Advertising. What else? I think the Psychology of Robert Cialdini definitely is I would recommend this book.
What is the name of that book? I don't know it.
Influence. The Psychology of. Let me just check it out. It's a pretty common book.
Maybe I've seen it.
The Psychology of Persuasion.
I've read too many of these kind of books. I don't even know now what I've read and what I haven't.
Yeah, so I would recommend it. They're old classics. Definitely, everybody who is in the social media advertising space should read them.
One of the best books I ever read, and I tell everybody needs to read it, is E-Myth Revised.
Yeah.
Like, that book changed my life. Like, that's the book that just made me like, I'm the lady in the bakery. You know, I need to not be the lady in the bakery. You know, I need to learn how to step out of the shoes, stop being the lady in the bakery. And that teaches you how to like think in order to become a business owner rather than having a job for yourself, right?
Yeah.
And doing all the stuff yourself.
There are a lot on the topic.
Yeah. So Stan, it's almost an hour. So I want to say thank you for giving 1 hour of your time.
Sorry, man. Just before we finish.
Yep.
What's your main struggle in the business? How do you find appointment setting?
For clients?
For your side and for clients as well.
So at the moment, the main thing we do in my agency is probably 70% content creation and 30% advertising and scaling. And I just started the coaching program that's just like live for like 3 days. So I haven't even started market it. I'm just figuring out concepts and ads and stuff like that. But for the agency, when I started, I was like, oh, let's write content. That didn't work. But in the same time, I was like, I'm not just going to sit and wait a dancing video to bring me clients, right? So the first thing I did was, in the UK, we have a website. It's called Company House.
Yeah.
And you have all the businesses registered there, right? So I would go to the Company House. I would find a business. Then I will see who the directors are. And then I will go to hunter.io, put their name, or the link of their website, and I'm going to find all the hidden emails they have for inner communication, like stan@funkybusiness.com rather than info or team or the things on the website. And I used to sell like 100 emails a day, probably. I didn't call because I was like tired of cold calling and stuff. I sending in emails. And that's how I got the big company in California. I got a person on Upwork or Fiverr, whatever, to search me for companies in the US.
Yeah.
And that's how I got the huge company in California. It was like a huge skincare company, cannabis company, huge. And that's how I got them. Like the owner just replied, we went on a meeting and we worked for several months together. And I never kind of stopped doing that at that point. Then I got really busy and I was alone, so I had to scale. And the word spread through my clients, mainly, I always say it's that one client that kabooms your business.
Yeah.
That happens to me. It's like third business, or if it's fourth. And it's always that one client. I mean, I'm not sitting with crossed hands to get the clients, right? But at the same time, at this stage, I'm more focused on perfecting the whole process and hiring people rather than like get 20 clients, go into the sales side of things and just get 20 clients and like don't know where my head is, because I'd done that. It was a bad experience and anxiety was through the roof, couldn't sleep. And I was like, I don't want this. So my main, like through all the people, we make content that just the word spreads, and then we take them like, okay, you need first a little bit of content, then we start sign them on, run the ads, then we grow their accounts with ads, right? Then we create the leads, magnets, the leads, and we basically help them in like 6 months to a year to like having leads and selling high ticket offer, $5,000-$10,000 in the back end. But most of them, like at the moment, we basically work with public speakers in the US who have no online presence, but they're very big in their networks.
Okay.
Right? Like they are like TED Talk speakers, right?
Okay.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they're not big on social. So we get them and we start content. So I kind of shifted a little bit because there were so many people asking for that kind of help, right? And I was like, instead of me waiting for them to get to the level when they need ads, why do I don't get them to that level?
Yeah.
But I can get them there better than anyone else I know, for example. That's right how I see myself. And at the moment, I'm shifting also to start the coaching business, and it's just freaking ads, man. I have like 20 concepts. I'm probably added like over 100 videos to last week with my team. And I'm just going to kaboom the internet until I find out, which concept, which ad, which funnel.
Yeah.
It's going to take me probably 3 to 6 months to make it like work like crazy. And this is my system. I don't like to run ads to an offer that's not free, right? I made it every time I'm allowed to do that. I bring success, and that's what I do now. Run ads. Join my free Facebook group. It's in the link now in Instagram and everywhere. You come. I post content there every day. I do live 1 hour every week, right? And I start gaining your trust. People start raising their hands, and we sign them on high ticket one-on-one coach. And I basically coach them the same thing. Like I don't coach them, go and do what Stan is doing or somebody else is doing. Like, no. Get a free offer that's very good. Drive people outside of the feeds, right? I use Facebook groups. You can use a mobile app, whatever, and just be there for them. Because I don't want to sell $7 coaches, or $30. I don't care about that. I like to sell $3, $4, $5, $10,000 offers, and nobody is gonna give you 10,000 because this was a freaking ad. And I know that. I've done this many times.
Yeah,
and it works if you want to put the work in it.